focus on this, this, and this, and this. I only want you to glow and grow. So as my younger self, I only want you to glow and grow. But as my current self for the future, I want you to glow and grow as well.
This is Champagne is Also a Band podcast. One songwriter, one song. I'm Sven, your host for a journey into the music of Champaign-Urbana. Recorded in the Blue Box studio with a songwriter from the Champaign-Urbana music scene, past or present. Champagne is Also a Band podcast is proud to be a part of the Champagne Showers Podcast Network. Welcome to Champagne is Also a Band podcast. Today, I have JLøve. You may know JLøve from her solo work, but also when she was in high school, she was in a band called Royal Vibes. So, JLøve, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So today we're going to be listening to your song, Glow and Grøw, off of the Dønt Førget EP, and your producer was Rico630. All right. So without further ado, let's listen to the song.
We started off young, then we got older. Hold up, love, what you doing on the shoulder? Tap, 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 tapping away. Tap, 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 tapping away. I couldn't have done it without you. I was up trying to ignore you. I'm sorry that I tried to decide the truth, but now I see what I did to you. Yeah, I know you just wanna love him. I know, but you gotta love you first. You gotta love you first. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Focus on your body and your soul. Focus on your mind, on things that you control. Focus on your energy. Want you to glow and want you to grow.
Welcome back. So, of course, my first and favorite question to always ask is, what came first? Was it the music or was it the lyrics?
I'm pretty sure it was the first half of the beat. Yeah, it was the first half of the beat before it changes into like that beat change, the like where it tones down, it kind of calms down in tempo and has just like this different vibe to it. So the first half of the beat came, and then I wrote to what my producer had made and extended the lyrics a little bit. I knew I wanted more. I knew I wanted that beat change. And so then he continued the beat and made that beat change and that cool little vibey part. And then I added the lyrics on top of it. And then that was the song.
Did you already start writing that first, I wouldn't want to call it a verse, but the first few lines, that was already started once you had that first beat? Or I'm curious about that, the timing on everything, or did it get kind of fleshed out into that first half and then the more chill, like extended chords at the end, and then you wrote everything?
So it went first half beat given to me, and then I wrote to the beat, just recorded myself, because I record by myself. I record myself. I think I pretty much just wrote all of it then and there when I listened to it and sat down on my computer and microphone and whatnot. And I just recorded whatever came to mind and then made lyrics from it. And then I brought it back to my producer and I said, hey, I want to extend it. I want more. And then that's what we did. We extended the beat and then sent it back to me. And then I recorded and wrote the lyrics to the ending. The second half came completely like naturally.
Nice.
Like all the lyrics came just entirely like from my brain to the microphone, just boom.
I don't know if I've ever asked this before, but was there a name or a title that was given to the beat before you got it? Because, I mean, sometimes somebody's just received it and it's like, you know.
So the beat was called Come Outside.
Oh, okay. No, it's just interesting to me because I know that a producer will create a beat with their own intentions, and then I know that those beats can be changed after the lyrics create a different intention. So it's kind of neat to see. I was just curious. I don't know if I really don't think I've ever asked anybody that before, but it's always like, what is the change that happens between that process of like interacting with your producer and creating the final product? And it's just kind of fascinating to me.
Even though the beat was called something, Come Outside, with me, I don't really get inspo from names of beats.
Huh.
Like, even if it's something I'm practicing, like I find a beat on YouTube, BeatStars, wherever, I really don't care.
Okay.
Not because, like, in a rude way, just whatever I'm feeling within the beat, the sound itself, I get inspiration from. Not necessarily the name, because the way that I might hear an instrumental or a beat could be totally different than someone else. I shouldn't have the title influence me. I want the actual vibe and the feeling of the beat to influence how I feel on it.
So I'm curious, at what point, when you first heard the beat, did you know that you were going to be talking about, this is my interpretation, is being able to kind of confront yourself about where you're heading in life and maybe your choices, etc.? Like, was that super apparent in your mind when you started working on it?
So the whole entire EP is long overdue. I have been meaning to make some kind of project of multiple songs for a long time. So I knew I wanted an EP. I just didn't know how to go about it or what the vibe or the meaning of it was going to be. So with that song, I had the first track of the EP, Thanks For You, done. And then Not My, the second one, done. Didn't have Glow and Grøw even a thought originally, but we had Over, and I knew I wanted a bonus track. So I made it the over vocals. So with Glow and Grøw, the whole EP kind of just came about. We've been working on stuff all year long and some of last year as well. And the whole EP was done. Like the whole idea behind it, the whole meaning behind it, the cover art, everything else, all the songs were done. And I knew that I wanted to release it on November 1st. I just gave myself a day to drive myself, to finish it. And I usually like to upload things to be released a month prior to the release date. So I knew I wanted things done by October 1st. 2 days before October 1st, I came up to my producer and I said, I want another beat and I want something that kind of ties the EP all together for me. And so that's when I was presented the beat, wrote the first half, he made the second half, the beat switch up, and then I did the lyrics to that second half. And I think we finished it in 2 days, just back and forth between it.
How did Don't Forget, how did you plan to fit this? I don't want to say this in a negative way, but like your last minute song, how did you figure out how to fit that within the overall arc or context of this EP?
Honestly, all of the songs that I had finished, that I had mentioned before Glow and Grøw, all of them together inspired me to make the lyrics for Glow and Grøw. So it's basically all the songs, all of the meanings, all of the deeper meanings that you might not understand unless you know me in those other songs inspired me to write Glow and Grøw. And Glow and Grøw is truly just about loving myself, accepting things for how they happened, accepting trauma, accepting negative things that happen in your life, things that you've done, and just putting that all behind you and moving forward and loving yourself, even though you may have done bad things or bad things might have been done to you, to still move forward. And that's what all of the songs are about, but specifically Grow and Go. And that's why I love it so much.
I want to talk about the narrative structure in this, in the way that this is telling a story about you in a way. I mean, anyone could take it on themselves, but I'm just curious. One of the things that happens when this song first starts is there's the line that says "wake up," and I understand as I'm saying it right now, I'm thinking about this.
Is he? He's talking about your tag, isn't he?
But
everyone thinks that. That's actually not in it.
What? Okay. So it's
his tag, Rico.
Well, it was just interesting to me because I was thinking about it. Let's see if I can. Okay, so here's a little voiceover because I was obviously confused, and so I'm just going to play that part real quick so that you can hear what I'm talking about. But then we talk about how it's actually a tag for Rico, not wake up, Rico. Also to note, of course, the producer is in the room while we're recording this episode. Right.
That's his producer tag called Rico.
Oh my god. Oh, I see what you're saying.
But you're not the only one that has said that.
Oh my gosh.
You're not the only one.
No, but it's, oh wow.
Do you know DJ BJ Clark?
Yeah, of course.
He doesn't realize that he's doing that. I tune into his live sometimes, and he goes, "Wake up," and he doesn't realize that it's his tag.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. But okay, well, I'm.
But it is cool though. It's kind of like a double meaning in a way. But yeah,
the way that my brain interpreted it was either a wake up call for you. And I know that's not what it is, but like a wake-up call for you, or kind of giving the preface to this story as this is a dream. This is something either to aspire to, or that you're kind of reflecting in sleep about your day or your journey. To me, I'm like embarrassed, but also kind of elated that it somehow had that double meaning.
But that is cool though, because I didn't realize until I uploaded my song to 104.5 and talked to DJ BJ on the live, and he was just vibing to it, just dancing, whatever. And when that part came, he thought it said, "Wake up, wake up, wake up." And I was like, wait, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that sounded like wake up, because I know his tag and I know what it sounds like, so I'm not going to hear it as something different. I think that's really cool. And it especially for the lyrics and the meaning of the song. None of the other songs probably sound like his tag probably doesn't even sound like that, but in this one specific, like it's just so ironic.
I love it. Going back to that narrative structure, so I'm curious about the thought process in terms of how you wanted to tell this story, because it starts off kind of with I almost want to say it's you talking to yourself, but like the older you, the now you talking to the young you, and moving forward, and then trying to kind of parse out all the different things that were done by you in your life that you may regret, or maybe have a new sense of peace about too, because, it's not just we both made errors, but this is where we are now, and maybe we don't necessarily regret that we are who we are now because of the choices that we made.
Yep.
So I'm curious about your choice of what you doing on his shoulder, tap, 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 tapping away. I'm curious, and I feel weird saying this, but would you say that was like there would be a literal interpretation of that, or was it like you're using that as a figurative metaphor too?
I mean, this whole song, it's up for the listener's interpretation. Obviously, I say that about all of my songs. But with me personally, I wrote that part literally and figuratively. What you doing on his shoulder, tap, tap, tapping away, literally means like tapping on someone else's shoulder, and you're paying attention to someone else rather than yourself. You're paying attention to what they're doing rather than what you can do, how you can better yourself. You're paying attention to how they talk, how they dress, just any of those physical attributes about somebody. But then the figurative meaning is, it doesn't even have to do with a person. It could do with anything that's going on around you. You're focusing on something else rather than trying to focus on yourself and bettering yourself and learning to grow. That's why I called it Glow and Grow.
So I'm curious about the second section, just following that tap, tap, tapping away. I couldn't have done it without you. It's this neat play word-wise and also just melody-wise, is there's that kind of call and response. To me, I interpreted that as you're reflecting on a memory, but also kind of adding your own narrative to what happened by the, I want to say, like the parenthetical background vocals that are throwing that in there. What was your inspiration behind that?
So I wrote the song with no intent of it being about someone else but myself, like we have said. And I made the background vocals like sound more like a love song because I do like love songs and I do like the emotions and just talking about love in general. So I wanted to make it sound like I'm talking about like a significant other or just another person, but truly I'm talking about myself, my younger self, because at a young age I went through a lot. So within those lyrics there, I couldn't have done it without you. I was up trying to ignore you. I'm sorry that I tried to deny the truth, but now I see what I did to you. That's just me talking to my younger self.
Going into that third section, it seems like that's where that transition happens, where it's just these really nice, rich, bassy chords. And I kind of took that as this was that transition also of where you just were you in a way. Like it was very much, it hits kind of vulnerable. Like it's just you and it's just these chords. And it's like, in the end, you can only focus back on yourself and basically that sound that is supporting you. I want to say, so like you don't have the beats that are like driving you along. It's just this sound that's kind of like this, I don't want to say like an island, but you know, like the firm ground beneath you. So I was just curious about that. And is where you were talking about like where there was the first half of the beats and then this is the second half. Yeah. How did you communicate with your producer that desire or that sound? Or did you say, this is what I'm intending to say? Can you create something that way?
So I'm pretty sure I asked him for kind of like a Chris Brown type of thing because Chris Brown likes to combine two songs into one. And when he combines them, that section where they meet, it like meshes in a way that makes it make sense.
I was curious about the final section, the choice of, and this may come down to your producer, your mixing engineer, is the addition of the effect. It's kind of a warbly effect. It's kind of a dreamlike almost. And I was thinking about how that came through in a way that was, when we think about, you know, how we're going to look towards the future and what we want to have happen, like it's so undefined and so unclear that maybe, I don't know, I just thought that was a really interesting choice in terms of making that happen, and it kind of comes through in that way of like, it's there, it's not yet formed, but it's coming together, and like, I don't know, I thought that was a really good
that
choice.
Symbolizes pretty much what the song means. What you just said.
Okay. So not just the last section, the whole song. Okay.
Because the first half is talking to myself, my younger self, but then with that final section, I'm still talking to my younger self, but I'm also talking to my current self as a way of like reflecting on the past. So I guess with the instrumental, it kind of does sound kind of warpy and maybe almost in a way like time travel, I guess, kind of sound, because it takes me back to when I was younger and to reflect currently in the now, to reflect on what I've been through or what I may have done or what someone had put me through. And then in the lyrics, it flat out says, focus on this, this, and this, and this. I only want you to glow and grow. So as my younger self, I only want you to glow and grow. But as my current self for the future, I want you to glow and grow as well.
Here's the part where I get to say what my favorite part of the song is, and it's kind of weird that not weird, but that the producer's in the room, so I feel a little self-conscious. But I'm going to do the unfair thing and say that there are two things that I really, really enjoy about this song, and the first really is at the beginning. There's a really just that sharp. It's not even a snare. It's like a snare and a snap at the same time. And it just cuts through that really deep bass. And I don't know. It's just it's very clear, but it also doesn't overpower it. So I think that there's like this subtle like power to it that, I don't know, you get engaged immediately, and I think that's cool. But then I'm also going to say that I really do like that last section where, and I want to say more towards where it goes into the outro, where it's you off into the distance and you're doing these vocalizations and it kind of drifts off, and it's almost like you're kind of taking yourself off into a new journey, into a new direction. And I feel like that has, you know, as we just said in that last section, your future is undefined. And as you're coming to it, you're kind of drifting off into that new journey. And I think that that kind of conveys exactly what you're trying to say. And I think that does it really well. So those are, unfortunately, I had to say two things because I couldn't let one win. But I'm curious, what is your favorite part of the song?
I really like all of it. It means so much to me. This whole song just sums up the reason behind the EP, and it sums up what I've been going through and what kind of mentality I'm in right now, to try to just focus on myself and focus on loving myself, focus on accepting things for what they are, and to not dwell on them, to focus on my body, mind, soul, energy, all of that good stuff. And that's why I'm so heavy on glow and grow. I always tell people, let's glow and grow. So the whole song, but honestly, if you really want me to tell you, the final lyrics, focus on your body and your soul, focus on your mind, all that. Yeah.
My last question is, and you've kind of touched on this a little bit, but why did you pick this song to be the song you wanted to talk about today?
Yeah, I could have picked any of the other songs, but I feel like this one is the most meaningful, and I feel like there's at least one person out there that either has yet to discover the song, or maybe that they can relate in a way, because I'm all for helping people. Literally, I'm all for helping people, and I'm all for being a mental health advocate as well, because I do struggle with a lot of mental health things, and including anxiety. That's a big one. And so this song, when I personally listen to it, it really calms my anxiety. So if anyone else can relate to it, or it calms their anxiety as well, then I love that. Thank you, Rico, for the beat. Shout out. This is my favorite song of all time, actually, that I've ever made, and it means a lot to me, and it means a lot that you created the beat.
Champaign is also a band podcast is proud to support Jubilee Cafe. Jubilee Cafe is a free weekly meal program at Community United Church of Christ, 805 South 6th Street in Champaign, Illinois. Jubilee Cafe serves a home-cooked meal from 5 to 6:30 each Monday. Their mission is to feed hungry people by cooking healthy, delicious meals and by serving their guests restaurant-style with servers waiting on tables. Jubilee Cafe is open to anyone who cares to eat with them. Because food insecurity among students is so high, they serve students as well as others in and around the Champaign-Urbana community who struggle with hunger. Meals are free to all and will be served each Monday evening, located in the accessible lower level of the building at 6th and Daniel Streets in Champaign. For more information on the meal or how to volunteer, go to the Jubilee Cafe CUCC Facebook page or email them at jubilee.cafe@community-ucc.org. That's jubilee.cafe@community-ucc.org.
Welcome back. So, of course, JLøve, what is your favorite Champaign-Urbana venue?
That I've performed or just attended, or either?
It can be either. It's pretty open.
I really have been liking Gallery Art Bar because I like the whole different color lights and lighting and all of the things that Matt Harsh does there. And I really like the setup, and it's a cute little venue. I think it's a really cool spot.
So is that one that you've attended and performed at?
No, I've only attended there a few times, but I do plan to hopefully perform there.
When you perform, what is your usual setup? I don't know. I've never asked that. Well, maybe I have asked that before, but I'm curious when people will come to see you, what should they expect?
Well, I actually haven't performed in a long time since like COVID time, but I do plan to get back into it. I've just been kind of what you call a recording artist right now, and just working on myself and working on finding my sound, because I really don't know how to describe my sound other than just myself and truth in my lyrics. So I've just been working on those things, but I do plan on performing, and I think gallery would be a really cool spot to start with, or just like smaller venues to get back into it.
What's the best Champaign-Urbana show that you ever gone to?
All of them?
Oh. No, I love that. That's great.
I mean, I'm very diverse, so I do like more acoustic performers. I like hip hop, but I also do like to listen to some kind of blues and jazz. So I really can't give you an exact answer. I like all of them.
What do you think makes a good music scene?
I think for the CU areas, I think diversity, accessibility to venues, and knowing the right people. Because without knowing the right people or venues, you can't really put your foot in the door. Because that's what position I'm in right now. I would like to branch out and meet people and visit different venues for different events, because I'm wanting to start performing again.
Right. I would say that that's definitely a barrier to a good music scene, is where it keeps, like, there's not a way to just kind of break through, and it's not always obvious who the people are that you should contact, or you can't just roll up to the bar and be like, hey, who's your booking person? Maybe you could, but that makes it a barrier in some ways. So I don't know if there's a better way, kind of make that door swing open easier. If somebody's already trying to work to get out and perform and get experience in terms of performing, like, how do they find that spot to, one, get experience, and then two, actually find an audience? And then do you actually find the right venue for you to connect to the right audience? And so I don't know, maybe that's something that Champaign-Urbana could work on a little bit, is make that a little bit more transparent, maybe. As an audience member or even as a performer, that does go to speak to your comment of accessibility, like, and also diversity as well. So I appreciate that. Other than that, do you think there's anything that Champaign-Urbana could do better in making this a better music scene?
I guess giving people chances as well. Like, if they've never performed before, or if, like, say they're the owner of a venue or they run a venue and they've never heard of an artist before, but the artist reaches out to them to give them a chance. Because I think a lot of venues sometimes are just like, well, we have our regular people. We kind of want to stick to that. But then they could whole time be denying, like, the next big person, if you want to think of it that way. So I guess just being more open and willing with other artists.
Champaign is also a Band podcast is proud to support Exile on Main Street. Exile on Main Street, located in the old train station building at 100 North Chestnut Street in downtown Champaign, has been helping to build record collections since 2004. Carrying a wide array of new and used LPs, CDs, and video games. Exile on Main Street has something for just about any music enthusiast and old-school gaming devotee. Exile also hosts regular free live music shows on its stage, so be sure to check out their Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for the up-to-date details on the next upcoming event. Open 7 days a week, they can be reached by phone at 217-398-MAIN. That's 217-398-6246.
Welcome back. So, JLøve, what is your favorite non-musical thing or things?
I really, really, really like Kung Fu tea, and that's boba, bubble tea. That's what they sell. And chocolate. So, of course, those combined, I really like the Oreo Wow drink at Kung Fu Tea because it has chocolate, cocoa, and boba. And I absolutely love boba. I love it. Love it so much. I always want it. I always crave it.
How did you discover this love of boba?
A long time ago. Not a long time ago. Like when I was when I was in my late teens at the mall, Marketplace Mall in Champaign, there was a place there. It's no longer there and it hasn't been there for a while. I don't remember the name of it, but they sold boba and I wanted to try it out. And so I tried it for the first time there, and it was more fruity flavors of boba, which I don't necessarily like fruity things in general. So I tried it and I was like, well, I like the boba itself, but the flavor of the drink is really fruity for me. So then I kind of just didn't drink it that often. I wasn't in love with it then because I'd never had Kung Fu Tea boba. But once I discovered Kung Fu Tea and then Teamoji, they're kind of on the campus areas of Champaign. And there was also one called Tiger Sugar. They're no longer there either, but they were my favorite before Kung Fu Tea, but they closed down.
Do you actually like tapioca pudding?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but that was not something particularly, that was a weird thing
similar.
to say.
It's
Yeah.
similar to boba in a way. And my grandma introduced me to tapioca pudding when I was a kid. So I think maybe that might be where I got the love for boba, because they're kind of similar.
Weird tangent, and I may just take this out, but I was just thinking, so my partner is like celiac, and so we host Thanksgiving, and my parents were like, oh, well, we'll make the gravy, and you usually use regular flour for, just tossing that into to make the gravy. And they're like, I read somewhere that it's good, you can use tapioca flour to make the gravy. And I'm just as a warning, use that very, very sparingly, because they used a lot of it and then it turned it out like this sludgy. It was, tapioca should be only in the little nugget forms, really, I think, if you want to call them the bubbles.
Yeah.
They should be in bubble form only. But no, sorry, that was a tangent that I will most likely remove. But it
was entertaining.
Whenever I think of tapioca, I love tapioca and I love tapioca pudding, but I always think of that one thing where it's just like they had the gravy and just kind of, you're like, ooh, that it just didn't pour very well. And I'm not going to say what it reminded me of, but it's just
Tapioca trauma.
yeah, it's just not. Yeah. Do you have any other non-musical favorite things?
I do also like to paint, like just on canvases for fun.
Is that acrylic or oil?
Acrylic, yeah.
Acrylic. I never really got into oils because it's just, maybe I'm just not patient enough. Just need to get that down, and then if I'm able to paint enough, then it'll be done and dried by the time I'm done. It's. But what do you particularly like to paint?
Anything
and everything.
I like to get inspired by Pinterest a lot.
Interesting. But so it's something on Pinterest, and then you say, I'm going to go ahead and paint that, or okay.
And maybe like change the colors,
Sure.
or make it kind of like my own.
JLøve, thank you for being on the show and telling me about your song Glow and Grow off of the Don't Forget EP, telling me about writing the song and your favorite Champaign-Urbana venue and your favorite non-musical things. And I just appreciate you making the trip all the way out here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thank you for listening to Champaign is Also a Band podcast. This is JLøve reminding you, great music is out there. Go find it where you live. kung fu tea boba. That's a wrap.
Champagne is also a band.
You almost have an NPR voice. It's so good.
Studio South Bigger on the inside.
Thank you for listening to Champagne is also a... I was going to say bad. Also a bad podcast.
Thank you. It is a bad podcast.
Oh